Very good. They're conducive for cultivation of knowledge. And of course, he stressed a lot on cleanliness. Look around and think, oh, place needs a clean. Yeah, so cleanliness definitely is very important. Take all that away, Aditya. Take the whole thing away. Mm. Aditya, can you put that in the bin, please? Yeah, put in the bin. Okay, don't leave it there. Yeah. What?
What's the difference between Purusha and Kshetragya? Purusha
Yeah,
is enjoyer.
yeah. Last time we discussed that a few weeks ago. Previous times, yes, very good. Who can answer the question? We already discussed this point. So let's recap. Maybe we have forgotten because of the gap. So, yeah, did everyone understand the question? Everyone understood the question? Can you repeat the question, Prabhu, Srimani Prabhu?
Purusha, the enjoyer, and Kshetragya, the knower of the field. Just wanted to understand.
What's the difference? Yeah, good question.
Both is same.
You are saying both is same. Okay.
Yeah,
Why?
He is residing in every body.
So he is Kshetragya, he is also Purusha. Okay. That's valid.
So, but Kshetragya, that means we are conscious of our own body, but Purusha is conscious of everybody else's body.
Very good. So he is asking the difference. The difference is that we are also Kshetragya. Krishna is also Kshetragya. That's true. That is his point. He's pointed a similarity. Whereas what you're asking is a difference. We need to know both. I mean, it's good to have discussion on both. The question is more specifically asking what's the difference. And now you're saying, yes, Kshetragya knows only the field that's limited to our body, whereas Purusha is aware of everything. But there is more differences than that. There are more differences than that. What other differences are there? Not fully discussed yet. Purport, not proper hints, but it'll come later. The last section, 20 to 27, that section will Prakriti and Purusha. That's dedicated to 20 to 27 is Prakriti and Purusha. They'll be covered there. But there are more differences. Yes, Anjali?
I'm not sure, but maybe the Purusha means it reflects the Bhagwan nature, only reflects the Paramatma feature.
I think you're not turned on. Is it on? Yeah, okay, it's on.
It is on.
Not working, huh? One more. Maybe give the other one. Yeah, give it back to him. Oh, yeah. Sorry, please repeat that so others couldn't hear you.
I thought Purusha feature reflects the all total feature, including the Bhagwan feature, whereas the knower of the field only reflects Paramatma feature of the Lord.
No, Kshetragya is only Atma. Kshetragya refers to Atma here, and Purusha refers to Paramatma. Okay. Yes, Prasan Prabhu. Correct. That's the similarity pointed out. Correct.
But Purusha is the enjoyer, while
very good. Very good. Very good. That's coming up later. Purusha Prakriti Stohi. Later verses coming up. We are the fake enjoyer, the imitation enjoyers. We think we are the enjoyers. We call it fake Purushas, the real Purusha and the fake Purusha. But that only happens when you're conditioned. When you're liberated, that doesn't happen. In the conditions case, we think we are the enjoyers. Whereas in the liberated state, we know we are not enjoyers. Only the conditioned soul comes in that category. Okay. And the other difference is more important. Purusha is the controller of Prakriti. Purusha is the controller of Jiva. He is controller of both. Kshetra and Kshetragya both are under his control. Whereas Kshetragya can't control much more than what is given to him. A limited field. The field is limited. The control also, not only knowing the field, but also controlling the field. Ruchika talked about knowing the field, which is good, which is right. But furthermore, controlling that field also, same way we are limited in our control, he is unlimited, he is able to control. So he controls both the material nature and the spiritual nature. Both are controlled by Krishna. Okay. Of course, there are more differences. We will go through them. At that 13th chapter, the 20th text 20-27 specifically covers that verse section. That's dedicated to Prakriti and Purusha. We will cover. I don't want to say the whole thing now because then there's no point. We are discussing some other verse now. So just for your clarity, I think that's enough. No problem. Is that okay?
Yeah. So, as per verse 3 of this chapter, he is
a superknower, so he knows about all the bodies but doesn't know about the individual body. Is that what you understand?
He means who are you talking about?
Super soul.
The super soul knows all bodies.
So Paramatma is in every body.
Yes, correct. So he knows.
Superknower.
Yeah, he is superknower, definitely.
But he does not know about the individual body. So
No, he knows the individual body. What we said was Kshetragya does not know the other bodies. He knows only his body. The Purusha knows all the bodies. That is never a dispute. That's why he is Purusha. Purusha means enjoyer, of course. He is a real enjoyer of nature. We are the fake enjoyers. Imitation enjoyer. That is one aspect. The second aspect is he is all-knowing. We are limited in the knowledge. He is fully in control. We are limited control. Only three were covered so far because there is more. Obviously, the next section is going to deal about that. We'll study those in more detail. More relevant to do it that time. I think for the time being, for the purpose, it's enough to understand that, because what Krishna does is in the beginning he gives the very short answers, and then he gives the elaborated answers in the different sections as we go along. Like knowledge, first he gave Kshetra and Kshetragya. That's all he said. Distinguish between knowledge and knower of the field, a field and knower of field. That's enough for knowledge. But now he's saying no, there's much more than that. Because this is focusing on Gyan, this section. So therefore he is giving the qualities that are conducive to acquiring knowledge. And also gives the process. In the process, in those 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, in those 5 verses, the process is also given. The process of acquiring knowledge. Which, the process that will help us to acquire knowledge. The process and the qualities, both are mentioned there. So we'll study those, we'll see. And in the list that is given there, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that all of them except last two are meant for Gyanis, whereas all others are meant for Bhaktas and Gyanis. He just makes a slight distinction there, but that's only academic, because for a devotee, he has access to everything. Once he is fully surrendered to the Lord, then Krishna says in the 10th chapter, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. I give the knowledge by which you come to me. So in that sense, a devotee doesn't need to know, or doesn't need to separately acquire those qualities. He will come to know anyway, because he doesn't have to do philosophical speculation. The last 2 points are being mentioned, right? He doesn't need to do that, because Krishna directly gives him the knowledge. So the last 2 verses are for Gyanis. All the other 20, there are 20 items listed there. If you count them, there are 20. And 18 are for Bhakta and Gyani, and 2 are for, last 2 are only for the Gyanis. Devotee doesn't need those 2. It's already covered. Okay. So we'll go through the purport as we have been doing last time. How far did we go in the... We'll read the verse again so that we can try to memorize the verse over a period of time. So, Shiva Krishna, you want to start with the verse? Yeah, just do 8, he can do 9, 10, 11, 12, let's pass it around. We'll all do one verse each.
Krishna. Amanitvam adhambitvam
Amanitvam nadambitvam
ahimsa kshanti arjavam
himsa shanti rajavam
acharyopasanam saucham
aryopasanam saucham
स्थैर्यम् आत्मा विनिग्रहा
dhairyam atma vinigraha
Indriyartheshu vairagyam
indriyateshu vairagyam
ahankara evacha
ahankara evacha
janma mrityu jara vyadhi
na mrityu jara vyadhi
dukha doshanudarshanam
dukkhadosanudarshanam
असकृत् अन्नभिष्वाङ्गः
asaktir anabhishyangah
पुत्रदारागृहादिषु
pratadara grihadishu
नित्यं च सामसिद्धात्वम्
yam ta samatitatvam
स्थानिष्ठोपपातिषु
ishtanu ishtopataspatishu
Mai chananya yogena
mai chananya yogena
bhaktir avya vicharini
bhaktya vicharini
vivikta desase Sevitvam
Vivikta Desha Sevitvam
Aratirjana Samsadi
Ratirdana Samsadi.
Adhyatma jnana nityatmam
Dhyatma Jnana Nitatvam
Tattva jnananartha darshanam
Tattva Jnanata Darshanam
Etaj jnanam idi proktam
Tad Jnanam Nidhi Proktam
Ajnanam adyato nayate.
Navato Nayate. Okay.
Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be, is ignorance.
Thank you. So these are the 20 qualities that are listed by Krishna as being under the category of knowledge. And we already covered last time how many qualities we already done. I think we did humility, pridelessness, non-violence. I think we already covered this. In the purport, we already done humility. Maybe I'll quickly read through those so that I don't think there's been so many gaps here. Won't hurt to read them again. And Nashing Kavachaprabhu was very eager to talk about cleanliness, so he jumped a few. He told me that I want to get to cleanliness. and fair enough, at least I need to know more of that. Okay, let's go to the second paragraph of the purport. This time trouble scrolling here. So Sumedha, I can read that.
As for the knowledge.
Yeah.
As for the knowledge outlined here, the items may be analyzed as follows. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others, but from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, anything, honor or dishonor, pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception. People are very anxious to be famous for their religion, and consequently sometimes it is found that without understanding the principles of religion, one enters into some group which is not actually following religious principles and then wants to advertise himself as a religious mentor. As for actual advancement in spiritual science, one should have a test to see how far he is progressing. He can judge by these items.
Okay. So what do you understand from this paragraph?
The meaning of humility is that one should not have the desire of recognition, gaining recognition and satisfaction.
Correct. Very good. That's one definition. Yeah. What else does Prabhupada say?
And sometimes that can take the form of a religious. In the name of religion, people can join a wrong group and get misled and then advertise themselves as a preacher.
Correct. So that is why we are very careful, especially even for devotees. We think, oh, that's for the pseudo-religionists. No, even for us it is very important. Because when we are suffering in the material world, we are miserable and suffering. When devotees come and introduce us to Krishna consciousness, we take it up. Oh, this is very nice. I can be happy. Like the hippies, first, or even the first disciples, Chuck and Bruce. They went and saw Srila Prabhupada sitting in Tompkins Square Park chanting Kirtan all by himself. So they went and asked Prabhupada, why are you doing this? And he said, it makes me blissful, Prabhupada answered. Then they said, can you give us that happiness? Can you make us happy like that? And he said, yes, why not? Very confident told me, yes. And they were talking among themselves, that we want to become like Swamiji. That time they called him Swamiji. We want to be happy like him. And Prabhupada said, yes, because you see, you got everything but you're not happy. But I've got happiness, you don't have that. So even though Prabhupada had nothing materially, just an old man sitting in a park doing some kirtan, yet he had everything. And these people with all rich families, rich background, they felt empty. So they couldn't understand this. How can this man be so blissful? So when we are miserable like that, when Krishna comes, we feel very, very encouraged. Oh yes, this is very nice, I can be happy. We take up Krishna consciousness. And then as we take up Krishna consciousness more and more, we get more and more reciprocation from Krishna. We feel very happy. Then we start telling others about this. Oh, this is wonderful. Then people start praising us and saying, oh, you are so good preacher, you are a good singer, you are a good cook, you are a good garland maker or whatever. You are a good organizer, you are a good manager, you are a good leader. We get all these compliments. Then we start thinking, oh, that's very nice. I am getting glorified now. So guess what happens then? Yeah. Then we want the glorification. Now who has become the center? In the beginning, I was center, I was miserable. Prabhupada told us, make Krishna center, you'll be happy. We made Krishna center as much as we could and we became happy. We experienced happiness. But later on what happened, we drifted. Now Krishna is not center anymore. I am the center. And Krishna is a convenient factor to keep me in the center. Therefore I'll say Hari Bol to Krishna. Krishna is God because he helps me to keep me the center. Now my center has grown. Earlier I had 5-10 friends, now I've got 500 friends. All telling Jai, Jai behind my back. Oh, how wonderful that is. So subtly Maya has tricked us back into making us the center of the universe when we are not. So this is very important. The humility means understanding that we don't want the satisfaction of being honored as being great devotee. The moment that sets in, it's very hard to shake it off. And we think the more we are glorified, the more we are advancing. So then we try far out tunes in the kirtan, then we try to do some concocted cooking, and we try to concocted lectures, we try to do so many far out things, to gimmicks to get attention. The object is now I am the center of attention now. No, it's not Krishna anymore. I'm just using Krishna to keep myself in the center. And this is very, very important. And anybody who opposes that becomes my enemy. So therefore there is enmity amongst devotees. Because they are saying, oh, he is objecting to my being the center of the universe. I want to be the center of the universe. All those who are supporting that, they are my friends. Those who are not supporting, they are my enemies. And then they create politics, then they create this thing. But all because we don't keep Prabhupada and Krishna in the center. So humility means keeping Krishna in the center, keeping Guru in the center, keeping Prabhupada in the center. That's why GBC is very, very, taking strong steps to make sure that all ISKCON devotees are keeping Prabhupada in the center. And that our spiritual masters are servants of Prabhupada. They are executing Srila Prabhupada's will. And whatever we can assist in that, that is our service. Otherwise Maya will grab us again. Punarmusika bhava. And that's why it's very hard to be humble if I think I'm center of the universe, isn't it? I think I'm so great. Why should I be humble? Everyone else should be humble and realize my greatness. If they don't do that, then they are demons. Or I don't like them. Or they're committing offense. So all kinds of things. Actually Mahatma Prabhu brings up some of these points. We should discuss it when we start that course. See, it says here, people are very anxious to be famous for their religion. And consequently sometimes found that without understanding the principle of religion, one enters into the group. Now here one may understand the purpose of religion, but still use that to keep ourselves in the center. So as far as actual advancement in spiritual science, one should have a test to see how far he is progressing. He can judge by these items. So how far we are progressing? Is it raining outside? Is it alright? That's alright. Okay. Yeah, I better sit on the sofa here because it looks like it's going to rain, so that's why I'm a bit worried about that. Yeah. So therefore, Prabhupada is saying, as for actual advancement in spiritual science, one should have a test to see how far he is progressing. He can judge by these items. So these 20 qualities is what we need to look for in a devotee to see how we are advancing. Again, when looking, we should be careful. We should not be so much keen on examining other devotees, seeing how they are progressing. That's not our job. Unless you are a guru, or a mentor, or a shiksha guru. Then you should do that. We should not be putting a magnifying glass and say 2.5, 3.5. 2.7 for you. For you, 6. That's not our job to examine. Sometimes devotees, I've seen that, devotees start examining, scrutinizing, what time does he chant, when does he get up, what time, how is he eating prasad. They start scrutinizing everything, trying to find some fault. And when they find a fault, they think, he's got a fault, I don't have to follow it, take his time. He's very fallen. I saw the other day. So this is the way we sometimes, scrutinizing means scrutinizing ourselves, not somebody else. Because that scrutinizing others, that leads to fault finding. I heard once Indradhan Maharaj told an interesting story. A man went to work and he came back from work. And when he reached home, his wife welcomed him home. He opened the door and welcomed him. And then when he took out his jacket, she found that he had a string of hair stuck to the coat. So she got angry. She says, this looks like a woman's hair. How did it come on your coat? It means you are having an affair. The man said, no, I don't know. Coat was hung in the office, in the closet, maybe something. Somebody's coat was there and it's come on that. No. He said, no, you're very upset. The next day he came from work. Again, this time she found another piece of hair. This time it was a blonde hair. So it is a blonde girl you're having an affair with. You are not being faithful. Start shouting at him. He said, no, nothing like that. I don't know. Maybe in the train something happened. Some people are walking and someone got stuck in the tight in the packed in the train sometimes. I don't know anything how it came there. And third day it seems also he got a hair. Again his wife yelled at him. And the fourth day he came from office. There was no hair on the coat. So what do you think the wife said? Try to hide something, yeah. You're not wearing a coat, yeah. Possible. Now you can affair the bald woman. There's no hair on the coat. So what is the message? You need anything will do to find. When you have the fault finding mentality, you see everything is wrong. Even if a devotee is doing something sincerely, we think that is wrong. What happened? Oh, it came from the gate, is it? You must have read the notice there. Your side gate. I think he'll go back. The gate is open anyway. He'll go back. There's nowhere else to go here. It's all closed, so he has to go back. Monkeys for Vrindavan. Sydney dogs. Don't get monkeys here. Yeah. So the fault-finding mentality wants to dull, because once we get knowledge, we start judging others with the knowledge we have. And then we see that standard they're following this standard, they're following this standard. Yes, everyone may not be able to follow the proper standard, but that's not for us to look out for. Unless you are a mentor or a guru, then of course you need to be concerned. Otherwise, we should be more concerned with ourselves. What are we doing? So these qualities we can appreciate in others, but should not be used as a tool for fault finding. Make sense? It can work both ways, right? I can use knowledge to glorify other devotees. Oh, this devotee is so clean, this devotee is so punctual, this devotee is so hardworking, this devotee is so honest. But we should not use this as a tool to find fault with other devotees. Because knowledge is there, it is available. You can use it either way. But we can use that to improve ourselves. Self, this thing is introspection is ideal. Maybe keep it with you. They keep on ringing. Check what it says. Lift it up.
Hello, yes.
Sales, huh? They keep on calling. Change the number. Okay, read the next verse. Charumati is not read. Can you please read that purport? Non-violence.
Hare Krishna. Non-violence is generally taken to mean not killing or destroying the body, but actually non-violence means not to put others into distress. People in general are trapped by ignorance in the material concept of life, and they perpetually suffer material pains. So unless one elevates people to spiritual knowledge, one is practicing violence. One should try his best to distribute real knowledge to people. One should try his so that they may become enlightened and leave the this material entanglement. That is non-violence.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Our concept of non-violence just means killing, but it's not limited to that. If we put others into distress by our actions, words, deeds, whatever, that also amounts to non-violence.
Very good.
And everyone, I mean, people in general, they are ignorant. They are so attached to the material concept of life that they have, and the material pains they suffer, that they are ignorant about what actual real knowledge is. Therefore, we should try and elevate people and give them spiritual knowledge. And that is, if we don't give that knowledge, then that is also non-violence. Is that correct?
You said opposite. You said opposite. You said
Yeah,
opposite.
it is also violence.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah, good. Okay. Now this paragraph has got a very profound meaning, because you see, a lot of people who are opposed to Krishna consciousness, they accuse Krishna and our acharyas of promoting violence in the name of Bhagavad Gita, in the name of religion. Right? You heard that? They're saying, oh, Krishna is asking you to fight. He's a warmonger. In Russia, they tried to ban the Bhagavad Gita, saying it's promoting violence, it's bad for you. So how can this paragraph clear up the misconception? Yeah. Yeah. Not giving that knowledge is violence. So Bhagavad Gita is giving us that knowledge. So suffering comes to an end. So how can that be violent? So the objective of Bhagavad Gita is not violence or non-violence actually. The real object is? Yeah.
And Prabhupada used real knowledge.
Yeah.
Not
Knowledge, yeah. Very good point. Specifically, one should have real knowledge, otherwise one will continue suffering. You see, the main problem is practically every religion is teaching us how to enjoy this material world. They are all talking about that, how to enjoy this material world. Go and worship this temple, you get this benefit. You go to this church and pray, you get this benefit. You go to this mosque, you get this benefit. You go to this Gurudwara, this is what you get. So everybody is preaching how to enjoy material world. Whereas Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, all the Vedic literature conclusion is the material world is a place of suffering. That's what this section is going to come. And towards the end he'll say, Janamrityu Jaravyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. He is in knowledge, one who can see the miseries associated with birth, death, disease and old age. Right? We covered last week in the That is real knowledge. But to try and say, no, follow my religion, you can enjoy better, is only keeping the illusion further. So that is violence. So any religion other than this is violence. That's why Krishna is very emphatic. Other than these 20 items, all this is ignorance, he says. Because most religions are teaching you to enjoy this material world, but do it in a regulated way. I was hearing a Guru Maharaj's lecture this morning on my phone. My phone does random lectures. It does a shuffle, so it brings up. Today it brought up his lecture. And he was talking about in the 4th canto, Bhagavatam, how the demigods are enjoying somaras. And that gives them strength, vitality, and increased vigor, so they can enjoy themselves more sense gratification. And in the purport, Prabhupada tries to explain to our tiny minds what somaras actually is. And he says it's not intoxicating and it's not drugs. Specifically says it's not drugs. Now, why would someone have to say it's not drugs? Because demigods won't fall to that level. They'll enjoy, but not to the extent that they are washed out and got a hangover the next day. So the Vedas also teach us how to enjoy in the material world in a regulated way. So somaras is a beverage, yes, but it's not intoxicating and it's not destroying the mind. It's like a tonic, elixir, they call it rasayan. Rasayan, it gives the like a tonic, tonic. What tonic does it? It boosts your health. It doesn't actually cure disease or something like that. It's not for curing disease. It's not a medicine in that sense. But it is a tonic you take to increase your energy levels, build up your energy, supplement. So, somaras is meant for that. So, why I'm saying that is, that's what the Vedas are dealing with. Traiguna Vishaya Veda, Nishtraiguna Bhavarjuna. But Krishna consciousness gives real knowledge, as you rightly pointed out, that takes us away from the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. And giving that knowledge is true non-violence. That's what Prabhupada says. It's generally taken to mean not killing. But actual non-violence means not to put others into distress. So if you don't give the knowledge to people in distress, that is violence. So this is a much deeper understanding. So if people say that Bhagavad Gita is teaching us is violence, that's actually not true. What you are teaching is violence. If you don't read Bhagavad Gita, that is violence. Anyway, Krishna prevailed and Russians couldn't stop the Bhagavad Gita. Instead, it increased the sales in Russia. People wanted to know what's that banned book. Can I get a copy of the book that's supposed to be banned? What's so controversial about it? It increased. What is said that the buses have stopped everyone and says, have you got any Gitas left? Oh, we sold out today. Oh, where can I get some more? I just have to get that book. Yesterday I had gone for an interview, and one of the interviewers, a panel of 3, and one of them was showing his phone and said iPhone 6 Plus. He just got it. He had stood in the queue from last night. Got iPhone 6 is here. He showed it to everyone. Like, with all reverence. Oh, he's got it. He's got it. He's made it. He's now Siddha Purusha. He's a Mukta Purusha. He's a liberated soul now. And I said, is an iPhone 6. He felt insulted. He said, what do you mean 6? 6 Plus. You can't forget the plus. I thought the interview failed there only. I should have 7 Plus or something. That iPhone 7. Because that has to happen, right? In 3 months' time, 7 will be here, and 6 will be thrown in the garbage. But today it's the Holy Grail. So that is material happiness. Coming to the office and showing everyone, I got it. I'm the only one. I'm the first one in this building or this floor. So that is violence. What Steve Jobs is doing is propagating violence. Anyway. We can, yes, bro.
You mentioned that the religions are teaching us how to enjoy the material world in a regulated way. The other point, all the religions except for the Bhagwat Gita, they are not talking about the Supreme Lord.
Yeah.
They're talking about the Son of God, or they're talking about a prophet or someone. It's only the Bhagwat Gita which is where the Lord Himself is talking.
Yes, that's
Otherwise,
true.
it's all everywhere else. It's Jesus Christ who's talking, or someone else, but who is not the Supreme Lord.
Yeah.
So again,
in some place they may talk about a Supreme Lord, but it's spoken about Him, not spoken by Him. The actual words of God are very limited. Very limited scriptures give. Of course, the words of Acharya is as good as God. That's why it says in the 10 offenses, one should not blaspheme Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. So that comes under pursuance of Vedic version. So we would not call that as non-Vedic, but because it deals with three modes of material nature, mostly Traigunya Vishaya Veda, therefore they are limited. That's the thing. That's the proper understanding. That's why you see a Krishna conscious person does not succumb to fanaticism. At the same time, he doesn't compromise. We understand they are in the three modes of material nature. They are trying to elevate to the mode of goodness, which is conducive, but is not actually real knowledge. In of itself is not good. See, that's why Krishna gives the distinction, you see. When he says Traigunya Vishaya Veda, he says, he shows the limitation, he points out the limitation. And then he says, Nishtraigunya Bhavarjan. It's like Prabhupada told Chuck and Bruce, you want real happiness, you have to follow me. You come with me, I'll show you how to get real happiness. And that's what Prabhupada did. He took them to the chanting of the holy name. Okay, next paragraph. Tolerance. Nan Gokul, you never get to read. Have you got a book in front of you? You'll be monitoring. All right, we just go around then. Yeah, just keep going. Tolerance.
Tolerance means that one should be practiced to bear insult and dishonor from others. If one is engaged in the advancement of spiritual knowledge, there will be so many insult and such dishonor from others. Much dishonor from others. This is expected because material nature is so constituted. Even a boy like Prahlad, who only 5 years old, was engaged in cultivation of spiritual knowledge, was endangered by his father, became antagonist to his devotion. The father tried to kill him in so many ways, but Prahlad tolerated him. So there may be many impediments to make advancement in spiritual knowledge, but we should be tolerant and continue our progress with determination.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on what are the qualities mentioned here?
Okay, but tolerance. So one should bear even insult and dishonors from others.
Yep.
And they quoted the example of Prahlad Maharaj, how he was tolerant, even his own father was trying to kill him in so many ways. So when you are going in the spiritual path, when you want to advance, there will be so many other hurdles or impediments which we have to tolerate and overcome.
Very good.
So that will help us to continue.
Very nice. Good point. So, how does this help us in cultivation of knowledge? How does tolerance help us? Yes. Please.
It's humility and insults will be an inherent part of our material existence.
Correct.
Therefore, to advance, we should just take it into stride, that aspect, and move on.
Yeah.
With determination.
Very true. Yep.
And Prabhupada also said if people don't be surprised if people stop coming to the temples, if they stop being Krishna conscious. Be surprised if they stay on.
Right. That's true. Thank you.
Keep tolerating or keep inciting?
Yeah. Insults, a devotee tolerates insult for himself or herself, but does not tolerate insult of other devotees. So that we should be clear about. And that's not so easy. Because when we are insulted, we react straight away. No? But if someone else is insulted, we think, as long as it's not me, it's alright. Not my problem. Yeah. So that's why advancement means not tolerating the insult of other devotees. So any other points on tolerance?
At the same time, I mean, you can tolerate the insult, but it's your duty to tell the devotee who is insulting that it's not good for his spiritual
Mm.
health.
Mm.
In order for him to progress spiritually, he should stop insulting anyone.
Yeah.
For that matter.
True. How did Lord Nityananda show tolerance? Yep.
He, for Jagai Mada, he only said, don't go kill them. Show mercy.
Yeah. He prayed for the mercy. And in fact, he said, not only prayed for the mercy, he said, now Mada, you hit me. Now you give me the right to save you, to give you mercy. So devotee's reaction to an offender is to give more mercy, to give more love. Just like if a child, goes off the path and takes to drugs or something like that, starts smoking or drinking or something like that. If the parents get upset and start hitting the child or shouting at him or yelling at him, it's only going to make it worse. Why is the person doing it? Because he's not getting love at home. Therefore, we have to see what's the problem. There have to be more merciful to that child. Show more affection, more care. And then there's likely to turn around. But if you start becoming very strong and start disciplining, can't get out of the house, or if you have to go, I'll come behind you and I keep a watch on you and I have a private investigator keeping track of you and will surveillance, you'll be under surveillance. That doesn't help. We have to show more affection, more love, more mercy. So tolerance means that actually the person who's insulting you the most, you should try to give them the most mercy. And I'm saying it theoretically, but that's the Vaishnava's mood. I'm not on that level either, but that's what we are aspiring for. This is what we learn from great devotees. That they're actually giving more mercy to those devotees. So when Jagai and Mada got more mercy for being offensive, they actually turned around. That turned them around completely. They felt, yes, this is the kind of mercy we'll not get again. So we have to surrender here. But at the same time, the examples of intolerance also. When does the Lord show intolerance, Krishna? Can you give an example? When the devotee is insulted. Example? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, same Leela, very good. In that same Leela, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's reaction? Did he say we are devotees, we should be very silent and peaceful, Shanti, Shanti? No, he took out his Sudarshan Chakra, was prepared to destroy the brothers, Jagai Madai. So Lord Chaitanya showed intolerance for the same incident that Lord Nityananda showed tolerance. So in the same example you're getting both. Did Nrsimhadev show tolerance to Hiranyakashipu? No. But you see here, that's what will be called by Mahatma Prabhu in that seminar, that he is actually giving the punishment out of compassion, not out of revenge. That's the difference. Just like in the movies they show the hero comes and hits the villain for revenge, not for compassion. Whereas the Lord kills a demon out of compassion, not out of hatred or anger or a revengeful attitude. So that chastisement has to be in the mood of compassion. So when you chastise children, it should be in a mode of compassion rather than mode of you challenge my authority, therefore I'm punishing you. That's commonly how parents punish the kids, when the kids challenge their authority. Oh, you are my dad telling me what to do? I will not do that. I'll be disobedient. What will you do? And that's what we can't handle. That's very difficult. So therefore, punishment is required. There has to be compassion in that. So when the punishment is done with compassion, the person who gets the punishment understands, okay, that's why it's being done. And it's good for my good, and I accept it. I'll be very careful not to do this again. So there's a rectification, there's change of heart, which is what we want. It's not that we want to stamp our authority in that person. Look at me, I'm the authority, you got to listen to me. If you don't, then watch out. That is out of false ego. Chika, microphone.
But everyone will not take the punishment in the same way, right? If you are not strict enough with me, I'll take it as I can take advantage of that, and I can just start doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
That may be the rascal mentality.
True, but I'm not saying don't be strict. Be strict, but with compassion. That's what our acharyas are teaching us. You be strict with compassion. In other words, you want to see good for the other person. The end result of this, you want to see that person has become a better devotee. So for that you have to chastise. Yes, I'm not saying don't chastise. That's what I'm saying. This is very tricky. Because we tend to think one or the other. If you're not compassionate, that means you are being strong. That means you are chastising, you are correcting the person. You're doing a good job. No, not necessary. It could be by chastisement, or it could be by showing affection. Because you have to see why the person is doing what they're doing. In Kali Yuga especially, it doesn't work. Even if you're right, who cares? It doesn't matter what is right and wrong. The person's change of heart, that's what matters. And that's what Srila Prabhupada did. He managed to change the heart of so many hippies. They gave up the sinful activity. Just like Lord Nityananda, he transformed Jagai and Madai by his compassion, not by his anger. That is not to say anger has not got a place. It's got a place for that, definitely. But it should be done such a way to benefit the person rather than destroy the person. Because I'm just saying, in the movies they show when the hero destroys the villain in the last scene, isn't it? They're destroyed. They don't show compassion there. Of course, the villain would have done equally horrible things in the first part of the movie, which is why he finally gets his end at the last part of the movie. But it's all tit for tat.
We saw in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela when he had chastised Junior Haridas.
Yes.
And it was his benefit only. But at that time he did not show him any compassion, right?
Yeah.
Because he wanted to set an example.
Correct. And Prabhupada was asked by one sannyasi that Lord Chaitanya banished Chota Haridas. Are you going to banish me? And what does Prabhupada's reply? That's the Lord. He's the Lord. He can do it. I can't do that. So he didn't take that. He said, just do some service. Try and do some service. Stay in the association of devotees. Do some service. That's why he got angry. The devotees who put down that Swami. Because they spread the gossip around. So-and-so Swami has fallen down. He's left the movement. He's fallen down. And Prabhupada said, what have we done? Every temple president is calling another one. Like hot news. You know what? Latest news. This sannyasi has fallen down. And they are discussing it like some wonderful gossip. Prabhupada got very angry. He said, now you made it impossible for him to come back. But if it had been handled in a mature way, we understand, okay, he had some difficulties, he's left his sannyasa ashram, that's alright. That was Prabhupada's mood. Recently Madhudvisa passed away. He was sannyasi before. So but somehow, Prabhupada sent all the devotees, go and find him. Go and find him. Get him back. Tell him that I want to see him. And finally, with great difficulty, he came and met Prabhupada. Because he felt so embarrassed. And Prabhupada simply thanked him for his service he did. He didn't talk about to fall down. It was pretty obvious. Everyone was embarrassed him. What more do you want to do? I want to add another strike and hit another nail in his body. He's already been crucified enough. No, you don't have to do that. Now, he's understood that. It's obviously not the right thing to do. So now he said, okay, try and do some service. He never chastised him. Rather, he chastised those who were belittling this sannyasi. And as a result, he came back and he continued his service. Ultimately, what can you do? Is there a higher atonement process than Krishna consciousness? No, there isn't. So might as well stick to it. But as devotees, we should make it easy for them to come back, not make it hard for them. At the same time, we can't say, oh, it's alright, this is everyday business, this is BAU. Keep going. You can't do that either. There have to be some sanctions that be there. That's okay. You can't give class for next 1 year, or you can't, whatever. Sometimes they say you have to clean the toilet for 6 months, and that's your service for having done this. There's different sanctions are there. Vaishnavas have approved some methods to make us more humble, so that we don't make that mistake again. So that is required. But all that is done out of compassion, not of condemning or condescending or putting the person down or insulting. No, that's not required. So it takes it takes a lot of endeavor to do that. Because the natural tendency is to go tit for tat. That's a natural tendency, that's a normal tendency. That's more of passion. You want to go tit for tat. But to rise above that and see the welfare of the person who is trying to do you harm, that is not easy. Lord Ramchandra showed that. He was prepared to forgive Ravan in a second. He said, give me Sita back with all respect and honor, and I will forget that you even done this to me. Not only I'll forget, I'll make the whole world forget about it. It won't be recorded in history as a bad thing. They'll say, forget it. And not only that, you can have your kingdom, and I will protect your kingdom. So the Lord gives him so many benedictions. He says, I'll give you all this. Just return Sita with due respect. That's all I'm asking. So the Lord is looking for ways to give out the mercy. On the other hand, you see the example of tolerance, you see the example of Haridas Thakur. He was whipped in 22 marketplaces, but he tolerated. He never complained. So Prabhupada gives example of tolerance, he gives example of Haridas Thakur. So he is the best example of tolerance. Of course, in Christianity we have Jesus Christ. But Prabhupada once compared and said, actually compared Jesus Christ, the tolerance of Haridas Thakur is much higher, much greater. But because it's not advertised so much, people don't know. So his sacrifice is much greater. So we have very exalted, not that Jesus was an ordinary person, but just we have to understand that the Vaishnavas are in a very high position. Like Haridas Thakur especially, very top position. Because of this quality of tolerance. Same with Prahlad Maharaj also. He tolerated so much. So Prabhupada concludes that saying, so there may be many impediments to making advancement in spiritual knowledge, but we should be tolerant and continue our progress with determination. So sometimes as devotees we feel that after becoming a devotee I got more impediments in my life. Sometimes devotees come and tell me this. See, after becoming devotee life becomes so complicated now. I am suffering more than before. It's a very common complaint I hear. And we go through phase in our devotional life. The first phase, I think I explained this once before. First phase is all new. It's all exciting. We are all very happy to be Krishna conscious. But then as the familiarity sets in, we start taking everything for granted. And slowly our gratitude disappears. We're not grateful so much as we were before. Now I take it for granted. Yes, I can rock up in the temple anytime. Radha Gopinath will be there, they'll give me darshan. I know the timings, I can go there. No problem. It's all under control. So rather than seeing the gratitude with that, we tend to take it for granted. And because of this, what happens? We start facing difficulties in our spiritual life. And we start getting impediments that Prabhupada is talking about here in making advancement. Our tolerance actually goes down. Doesn't go up, it goes down. Because I feel now I'm a senior devotee, I don't have to tolerate. I'm an initiate devotee, I don't have to tolerate all this. You people should behave properly. And so when the tolerance goes down, naturally the fault finding increases. And then the offenses. So the whole thing becomes a vicious circle. So that's why the more impediments we get, the more we realize that we are actually making progress. Because we are getting purified. But if we face the impediments and give up, then that is a cop-out mentality. I don't know where he got it from, but his always Was it Bhakti Shastri Maharaj or Radhanath Maharaj? Radhanath Maharaj only. I think he's saying. Lecture is saying that there are three classes of devotees. The Kanishta Adhikari is one who sees difficulties and avoids doing the service. So I don't want this. Too many impediments. I don't want this. I can't do this. Give me some other service. It's too difficult. The Madhyam Adhikari with enthusiasm jumps into the service, tries to fight the impediments, tries little bit, finds that he can't deal with the impediments, too many complications. He jumps ship. He says, okay, I had enough. I'm bailing out. He gives up. And Uttamadhikari is one who faces the impediments, like Prabhupada says here, but we should be tolerant and continue progress with determination. He doesn't give up. When he sees obstacles, he doesn't give up. He becomes more determined. So that's Uttamadhikari. The three classes of devotees. So the key word here is tolerance. Is that okay? Alright, read the next paragraph. Yeah, please.
We spoke about humility and tolerance, and they kind of go hand in hand. So, what is the difference between encouragement and humility? I mean, you sometimes need to be encouraged to progress in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So how is that looking for fishing for compliments, or is it is it part of humility? Similarly, if you're continuously found fault with, then would you not go to the other extreme of just avoiding something? How can you be humble and tolerant and yet not seek for encouragement? So how can you be self-motivated?
Yeah. That's why we read the books, you see. When we read the books, we get the encouragement. See, Prabhupada says here, yeah? Okay. Maybe we can paraphrase your question. You paraphrase the question.
Difference between encouragement or I don't know how to paraphrase the question. It's a humility and tolerance are they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for encouragement at times, is it wrong to look for encouragement at times while doing service?
Yeah.
Especially if you're constantly found fault with what you're doing.
Yeah, that's not a wrong thing. We all need to be encouraged. You give the other microphone to him.
So getting acknowledged for what you're doing and getting into a habit of getting acknowledged every time.
We're getting used to that.
Getting used to. And is it as good as getting honored? I mean, whenever you are getting acknowledged, can be treated as honored?
Yes, definitely. I mean, that risk is always there. That risk is always there, that we might be caught on the platform where we are trying to be glorified. That's different from encouraging. Encouragement we need because we need motivation to go forward. That's what I'm saying. Rather than depending on someone encouraging you, which may or may not happen, we derive inspiration from examples of our spiritual masters, of acharyas, how they are doing it. Okay, that's encouragement for us. From the scriptures, we read from the Shastra, that is encouragement. In the beginning stage, yes, we may need encouragement from devotees around us. At the same time, we as devotees should try to encourage others. But you see, we should be very careful here, because sometimes I see devotees, they in the name of encouragement, they start flattering too much, and that's artificial. That's not wanted. Over and way beyond the person's level. One day I was standing in the foyer in the temple, and one devotee came and told me, in front of Maharaj, he said that. In front of anyone, it is not good to say. But in front of Maharaj, he started praising me. I was saying, "Oh, Prabhuji, your service is so great. How do you do all this? Falling at the feet and all that." And I said, "No, Prabhu, don't do this. Because especially in front of Maharaj, when he is there, you should glorify him. Not speak about me in front of Maharaj." And then Jananda Maharaj, he commented to me and said, "How do you tolerate this? How do you put up with this?" Because first of all, what that devotee is saying was exaggerated. And secondly, doing it in front of a sannyasi is just so annoying actually. It is not actually fun. So I'm just trying to draw the encouragement, talking about encouragement. We should not go and praise someone to the sky and then make that person feel totally embarrassed. And that would be quite insincere also. Even though you may be thinking, I'm actually seeing good in others, I'm trying to practice what is mentioned in the scripture. No, one has to be moderate in their praise, and one should not praise a younger devotee in the presence of an older devotee. That etiquette should also be maintained. We should not glorify, unless that sannyasi or guru has said, I want you to speak about this person. Then it's sometimes initiation time, it happens, like spiritual master says, can you tell us something about this devotee is getting initiated? But that's on the order of a higher authority. That's alright. But otherwise we should not glorify. So same thing occurs, sorry, this is taking us to another point, but it's an important point to know. That's why we don't have Navagraha in the temple. In Vishnu temples we don't have Navagraha. Why we don't have? Because not even demigods. Only the Parshadas should be there. Prabhupada set a standard. Only Vishnu Tattvas should be in the Vishnu temple. Or the Acharyas leading us to Vishnu Tattva. But no demigod should be in there, because they can't be honored in the same place that Krishna is being honored. So that's why in Vishnu temple, on the threshold of the entrance, we don't step on that, we cross over that. Because the Navagrahas are located on the threshold of the temple entrance. And when you go past that Navagrahas, that means you have gone beyond the material world. Krishna or Vishnu or Narayana is transcendental. He is beyond the 9 planets, Navagrahas. So we should never have Navagraha worship in Vishnu temple. That's the aparad. People nowadays build temple based on donations. If you are a Sai Baba follower, you are the big donor, Sai Baba will be in the center. No problem. You are given money. You call the shots. If somebody else gives more money for Ganesh, he'll get a bigger murti. It's all proportional to how much money you give. And then inside you go, it's like a shopping mall. You just go around the trolley and say, which one? I'll have 1 of Ganesh and 2 of Murugan and 3 of this demigod. That's such a mundane concept. So that you can find your God there. We are very liberal. No, we've got all the gods there. Your God is also there. If your God is not there, tell us. Give us $100,000 donation. Your God will be kept there also. So no one should worship other than Vishnu. Similarly, question of talking about encouraging and praising, same concept applies across the board, whether it is to the Lord or the devotees. That we should not praise an younger devotee in presence of an older devotee, unless it's been asked to. And encouragement we should give to others only as much as necessary. Because see, Prabhupada, Hridayananda Maharaj, he described in that memories, in the memories series, in the Prabhupada memories, he was talking about how he had come to Prabhupada and reported a big university preaching. They distributed a lot of books and they did a lot of libraries, massive program. There's a lot of books. And Prabhupada listening to them. And he didn't say a word of encouragement. But then a girl came, Mataji, Brahmacharani came in, and she put a vase of flowers in front of Prabhupada and she took the old flowers out. And Prabhupada looked at her and said, thank you very much for your service. And here he's going, I'm doing university preaching, I'm doing full set distribution. He didn't say thank you to me, but that girl who replaced only a flower vase, she gets thank you from Prabhupada. So then he realized, yes, I was becoming very proud of my achievement. And I was fishing for compliment. I was looking for that praise from Prabhupada. But Prabhupada ignored that devotee. He didn't praise, but rather he praised that girl who just came unassumingly. She quietly came, put the flowers and went away. She was not expecting she's done great service. But Prabhupada acknowledged her service. So like that it happens, So you have to see, one time Bhakti Maharaj asked a similar question. And he said, we should not glorify a devotee with the calculation that if I glorify him, he'll glorify me then. With that calculation, we should not glorify. Sometimes devotees do that. They try, if I tell one good thing, he'll tell 10 good things about me. So then I can lap it all up. So the motivation there is very important. So in summary, encouragement is good for us, is healthy, to help us remain on the path of Krishna consciousness, to help us in our determination. But if it makes us proud, then it is harmful. Sometimes not good to glorify a person. That's why Chanakya Pandit said, a friend is one who criticizes you on the face and glorifies you in the back. Whereas the enemy is one who glorifies on your face and criticizes you in your back. The opposite. So we need to have that discrimination. And if we are working hard all the time and getting only faults and getting only faults pointed out, as you were saying, then we should explain that to some devotee that we are taking guidance from. See, this is happening to me all the time. Only faults are being found with me. I'm just not getting any encouragement. Please tell me how to handle this. And that devotee can help you, surely. You can get guidance. And the Lord is there. He will always rectify everything. I think Malati Mataji, when she mentioned the memories also, did we discuss that sometime? She was cooking for Prabhupada in Mayapur in a straw hut on a kerosene stove. The Malati. Yamuna might have, but I heard from this particular incident, I heard from Malati Mataji. I think Yamuna also must have been there, yeah. But this is Malati's account of what she experienced. And she told that every day she was going to say, I'll tell Prabhupada I had enough of this, I'm going. Imagine, girl born in a very rich family here in the US and living in very high standards, now living with minimum sanitation, no running water, no proper accommodation, with snakes and insects and scorpions and mosquitoes and flies and every other possible rats infested area. Living literally in the jungle, very austere, and cooking for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would have guests often. He's got brothers who come and see him in Mayapur. And she had to cook for him. And he had short notice, he'll say, I'm getting 4 more guests today. And she'll say, yes, Prabhupada. And then she'll try to make some struggle. Getting vegetables, getting running water even to wash the vegetables. Cut them, cook them. Very difficult. So every day she wanted to leave. And then one day she went into the room to serve Srila Prabhupada and all his guests. And then Prabhupada showed to his godbrothers, look at this girl Malati. If I ask her to cut her head off for me, she'll do it. And Malati was shocked. Oh my God. And then he said, and similarly, if she asks me to cut my head off, I'll do that too for her. And then she was like, okay. And then she started crying, and then later on she went and saw Prabhupada, and she said, Prabhupada, actually I was thinking of leaving today, but after I heard you say that, I'll never leave you anymore. Whatever happens, whatever difficulty, I'll tolerate it and I'll somehow serve you. She understood the sublime nature. So the right time she got the encouragement you're talking about. At the right time. Guru knows. This disciple needs encouragement. This one needs chastisement, getting too proud. But if you use it indiscriminately, that can lead to pride, isn't it? You start telling that devotee, you're great, that person will start believing in it one day. Yeah, maybe I am great actually. Why didn't I think of it? Like we did program in Epping last week, right? We got a nice message from one of the members, Srinivas, you forwarded that to me. So he was saying, he liked the program very much and all that. But then we realized, actually, what are we doing? Nothing. We are so limited. It's only by mercy of Guru something happens. But we should not start thinking, am I not amazing? And we may laugh at it in the sense of think it's so silly, but actually that does happen to us. Seriously, it can happen to us. It happens to big gurus, sannyasis, it can happen to them. Because Maya is so subtle, she can really get us anyway. So I'm just making some comments on your question because there are different facets to it, there are different aspects to it. You have to see. So the summary is that encouragement is healthy as long as it helps the person to move forward and gives a determination to carry on. But if it makes the person proud, then it's not good. If it's exaggerated, it's not good. And we should not encourage the idea of getting praise from them back in return. That's the wrong motivation. Did I answer your question? Or?
I mean, personally, if I were to put myself into this situation,
yeah, can use the microphone. Yeah.
I couldn't care who says what about me, except for maybe a handful or maybe 1 or 2 people. I couldn't care less. You may think I'm the worst person on the earth, but if I have to do it, I'll do it. but its encouragement is always from someone who is senior, someone whom you look up to, and someone whose opinion really matters.
And that means a senior devotee should be sensitive to that and give the proper encouragement at the right time, and not always have fault finding, because we are so busy trying to get things done, and we tend to forget take the time to encourage someone or to support someone, and that's a very big fault on the part of the devotee who is managing. It's not the fault of the senior devotees that they are not sensitive enough to appreciate the work of the devotees, and always have a fault finding mentality, and that's definitely very seriously wrong. If you see from that point of view, yes. It depends on which level you're looking at. The question can be answered in different ways depending on which perspective you're seeing. If you're seeing the perspective of a senior devotee or a manager or a parent, it's one angle. If you're seeing it from a younger devotee's angle, it's different. Definitely. It's that's why we need counselors, we need mentors, we need guides. Spiritual masters are there to, when you can express this, look, it's getting too much for me, I can't handle it. It's getting always very difficult, and sometimes happens at work also. The boss is always after you. Hey, you're not doing this, you're not done this, you're not done that. Not even one good word, always putting you down. It happens at workplace. It's workplace bullying goes on. Bullying at workplace. There's racial discrimination, there's age discrimination, there's gender discrimination. So much goes on at workplace also. Even though they try not to, they have policies to deal with that, but still it goes on. What to do? This is the material world. That's to realize material world is a horrible place. And if your manager or senior devotee or someone is doing that to you, we should understand they are still in the modes of material nature, and therefore you take help from some other devotee. That's more practical. Who can actually guide you? Or the person is approachable, you can go and tell them, look Prabhu, look Mataji, you're always finding fault with me. I'm finding really hard to work. Can you please help me out? I'm in great difficulty. I'm on the point of breakdown. Please don't do this to me. And usually the person is doing it out of ignorance or out of compulsion or out of necessity because of the circumstances, stressful. They'll realize, oh my God, they'll snap out of it. They'll realize the mistake and they'll rectify it. So it depends on the person and relationship with the person. You can bring it up with them directly and say, look, I'm really feeling uncomfortable. I feel lack of motivation when you pick on me all the time. So there are a lot of options. Prabhupada has created a whole society here. We've got a lot of options where we can go to and get help. And the person you get help from should not make your relationship with other devotee more estranged. Oh yeah, he's always like that, he's very nasty fellow, don't talk to him. That's not good, because that only increase the rift between us. Already the rift had become more now. Sometimes well-meaning, well-wishers come and they create rift between devotees rather than help them to come together. That's when the most common problem is husband-wife fighting. When they come to you for counseling, it's very hard, because if you don't counsel properly, you can end up creating a rift between them. That's very dangerous. So that's why we should not try to do something we're not trained to do. Up to a certain point, you can handle it. If it gets really more serious, then you have to have proper counselors who are qualified to deal with that. Because relationship of any kind, God brothers, God sisters, anything, we should not make the relationship get worse because of our so-called intervention. Because that can easily happen. Very easily it can happen. I go and tell bad things to this devotee. You know what this person said? Blah, 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 blah. Then he becomes more upset. Then you go and tell that, you know what this person said? Da, 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 da. They'll never come back then. We are actually making it worse and worse. So these are very deep topics. Very deep. That's why a devotee has to think very carefully before they say anything, before they do anything. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam. Many times the devotees have told me that so many emails I've sent I shouldn't have sent. Then you get angry if somebody has sent some email off. It's gone. Can't undo. It's too late. In fact, one devotee told me, any angry emails I write, I put them in my draft folder. I don't send them out. And after 2 days, I still think about it, then I send it. Because the moment if you want to send it the first time, you get angry. What do you mean by this? You nonsense. Sent. Brahmastra. And that person says, what do you mean by this? And then, zoom. And we have seen so many email battles like that. And at work, in the temple, and it just goes on. It's better to be thoughtful. That's why you see in read Mahabharata and Ramayana and all that, you see that whenever somebody there's a angry response or angry thing, I can give some examples. Then they don't give the answer immediately. They take their time. They don't give the answer immediately. They take time about it. Don't reply immediately, because by replying immediately you could say first thing that comes to your mind, and that could be wrong. You haven't given sufficient thought. Okay? Which one? Yeah, it's very nice. That's nice. Thank you.
Demigods shouldn't be worshipped in the same temple as Vishnu. We have a figure of Ganesh when you walk in to the temple room. Is that okay?
Well, first start, we're not worshipping him. That's one thing there. But yeah, technically shouldn't be there. Technically speaking, should not, because when you have some deity, you are supposed to worship. That's why in the standard Vishnu temples, if at all they have demigods, they have them outside the temple. Lord Shiva Kshetrapal is another example. I don't know, I wasn't involved with the design. Should ask them. Inside? Outside? At the door. At the door is fine. Yeah, but that's also outside, no? Because once you cross the threshold, you are beyond the three modes. You are beyond material nature, beyond the material world. It's become the spiritual world. You are entered Vaikuntha. So Vaikuntha demigods are not there. That's beyond their realm. Because the Lord is transcendental, whereas everyone else is a conditioned soul. So they can't be put in the same category. Exception is the Vaishnavas, because they are leading us to the Lord. So that's different. They're called Parshadas, the incarnations of the Lord. Parshada. Which verse it comes? Parshadam, there you go. Parshadam, associates, incarnations called Parshadam. Okay, let's move on to the next paragraph. Who's reading next? Kalamata is not read, no? As far as knowledge outlined here. Oh, sorry, no, simplicity. Yeah.
Simplicity means that without diplomacy, one should be so straightforward that he can disclose the real truth even to an enemy. As for acceptance of the spiritual master, that is essential, because without the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot progress in the spiritual science. One should approach the spiritual master with all humility and offer him all services so that he will be pleased to bestow his blessings upon the disciple. Because a bona fide spiritual master is a representative of Krishna, if he bestows any blessings upon his disciple, that will make the disciple immediately advanced without the disciples following the regulative principles. Or the regulative principles will be easier for one who has served the spiritual master without reservation.
So what's the realization on this? What are the qualities mentioned here? From the 20 qualities, which qualities are mentioned here, and what are your realizations on that?
Simplicity, truth,
and approaching a spiritual master.
Approaching the spiritual masters.
So only two are mentioned here. If you go to the original translation, see, humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance. We finished that. This one talks about simplicity and approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Correct?
Yes. Simplicity and approaching the spiritual master.
Yeah. So any points on that?
So one should approach the spiritual master with all humility and offer him services so that he will bestow the blessings upon the disciple.
Yeah, just like we read in the 4th chapter, right? Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashna sevaya upadamshite jnanam jnanas tattadarshana. So how do you approach a spiritual master? Humility. Yeah.
And submissiveness.
Submissiveness, yep. And offer services. Offer service to him. Tadvidi pariprasthena sevaya. And inquire from him. Then what a spiritual master gives in return? Yeah. And he'll be pleased to bestow his blessings upon disciple. He gives the knowledge. So what do you get? What happens with the blessings? What is the benefit of the blessings for disciple? You can advance. Or the regulated principle will be easier for one who has served a spiritual master without reservation. So to follow the regulated principles also requires mercy. That becomes easier when we follow this process. Humility, offering service, asking questions, all this makes a candidate for mercy. Because our success in spiritual life is dependent on 99.9999% is all mercy only. Our effort is very small. So for that small, our little effort, we want to get the mercy. If we have the mercy, then it's very easy. Otherwise it gets very hard. Okay, yes.
What does it mean here where it says that if one receives the blessings of the spiritual master, that will make the disciple immediately advanced without the disciples following the regulative principles?
So if one has not gone through the process, it doesn't mean he can break the regulative principles. If one has not followed, that's what happens in initiation. That time the disciple surrenders to Guru and renders service to him. So spiritual master is pleased, he gives a blessing. So he has not followed the regulative principles till now, but now is promising to do that. So he is free from all that karma. The karma is taken by the Guru. Guru takes all the karma of disciple at time of initiation and makes him free so that he can execute Krishna consciousness very easily. See, before initiation we are struggling because we have so much karma to deal with. May not be in a position to follow regulative principles fully, but when the blessings is there, it becomes very easy to do that. On the other hand, if you offend a Vaishnava, it becomes very hard to follow the regulative principles. We saw in the case of Shaubhari Muni. Because he committed offenses, he could not control his senses. He was meditating underwater. Because he offended Garuda, therefore he had to come back and ask the king of the land to marry his princess to his daughter, the princess. And then she didn't agree because he looked so horrible. He was living underwater for so long. His body was very ghastly to look at, not very pleasant. Didn't look like a hero. So they had to. So then he transformed himself into a young man. He started looking. He looked very handsome. Then all the princesses wanted to marry him. And he ended up marrying the whole lot. So what happened to the meditation? Finished. Meditation is gone. Because you offended Garuda. So when you offend a devotee, it becomes hard to follow the principles. On the other hand, you get a blessing of a devotee, it becomes easy to follow the regulative principles. That's why we have samskaras. We do pujas for wedding, for garbhadana samskara, for having a child, for everything there's sanskara. The sanskar gives us the purification, the blessing, so that for the child it becomes easier to be Krishna conscious. When they're born, they grow up, they're easy for them to be Krishna conscious because all the sanskar is given to them. It gives a good foundation. Okay. Did I answer your question? Thank you. So need cleanliness. We already covered that, but we can read it anyway. Ruchika, you want to read? Microphone.
Cleanliness is essential for making advancement in spiritual life. There are two kinds of cleanliness, external and internal. External cleanliness means taking a bath, but for internal cleanliness, one has to think of Krishna always and chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This process cleans the accumulated dust of past karma from the mind.
Okay. So what's your realization on this?
Cleanliness of both internal and external are important. It should not be like an elephant's bath. They say that you.
Yeah, shouldn't be like elephant bath.
Elephant bath.
Yeah.
Then you clean yourself and you make yourself dirty again.
Yeah. Okay. What are the points?
And then the internal cleanliness they are talking about is for internal cleanliness we have to chant Hare Krishna. Basically, keep our mind engaged in
Chetodarpana marjanam. Marjanam means cleaning. Chetodarpana marjanam. The mirror of the mind is, the dust from the mirror of the mind is cleaned by the process of chanting Hare Krishna. Why external cleanliness is important? Why not just internal cleanliness?
Because they go hand in hand.
The external affects the internal. So therefore it's important to be externally clean. Which mantra do you remember when you chant this? In the pujas we chant one mantra all the time.
Om Pavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavastam Gatopi Va Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabhya Bhyantara Shuchi.
That's what exactly is translated here. Bahya Abhyantara. Bahya means external, Abhyantara means internal. Suchi means clean. That person, Yasmaret Pundarikaksham, one who remembers the Lord, he is purified externally and internally. Simply by and remembrance of the Lord, Yasmaret. How to do Smaranam of Lord Vishnu? Chanting. Because chanting leads to remembrance. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Alright. So we'll do one more quality before we finish. Yeah, Janardhan, do. Give her a mic.
So on this point of constant chanting, I had a question from. Like I was explaining that constant chanting, this is, it has an effect, and so the question was, how do you know that this effect is happening? I said, you chant and then you'll see the effect.
Yeah.
But the other argument was, I'm already, a good person. I'm already, a good person. I'm clean, and he said, you may be thinking that there is an effect, but I'm already having those things. So how do you convince in such a case that constant chanting will definitely have an effect?
Yeah, the person is so sick that he doesn't know he's sick. That's the problem. So you see, you may think you are good by your calculation. That doesn't mean that you are good, and you can't be better. Even if you are good, you can be better. There's always improvement, right? There's always scope for improvement. One should not feel that I have done the best and this is the best. No, there's always room for improvement. So even if you think you're good, you can still be better. You can still be best. So that requires knowledge to what is good, what is the meaning of good. To understand what is good and bad, we have to understand who we are. To understand who we are, we need to attend the Bhagavad Gita introductory course. Please enroll. Starting next Sunday at home near you.
Saying that I am good in itself is a disqualification.
Yeah, that's right.
No, Prabhu, that's not the... What I'm saying is, like, how to explain this in a very simple way that, constant chanting.
You may not come to chanting straight away. That's what I'm saying. You have to bring these things first. Who am I? Why am I suffering? You see, unless someone agrees that they are suffering, you may be a good guy, you may think by a calculation, but what really good means, how do you know?
Yeah, over, say, we're not talking about something in Sydney or somewhere, where you can get, say, over the telephone.
Even on the telephone, you still start with the basic step. You are saying that you are good, right? Do you know what definition of good is? Ask him first of all. And that itself is very limited.
Sorry, Prabhu. It's actually very difficult to go into all these things. Yeah, like.
Then why are you talking then? Just don't give them prasad or something, or don't bother. If you can't do it, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. The person has to be receptive. The person not receptive, they're not going to take it. See, Jada Bharat was a Mahabhagavad devotee. But he didn't give mercy to anyone until Maharaj Raghugana came. He kept himself, and they thought he was dumb, foolish, stupid, moron. That's what people thought of him, because he acted like dumb. Only when Maharaj Raghugana came, he saw, here's a man who's very sincerely looking for spiritual advancement. He needs he's actually going to look for a guru. He was on a palanquin, going from one end of India to the other end, trying to find a guru. Because he heard that Lord Kapila had appeared, and he thought I'll go and approach him. So he was looking for a guru. So Jada Bharat found, here's a suitable candidate, I can give my mercy to him, and he will become very elevated soul. But the person you're talking to doesn't want to hear, he just wants to give his point of view, and say, you can say that's your point of view, but first of all you have to understand what is real knowledge, what good actually means. And in order to do that, you ought to know who you are. That's what I'm saying. Prabhupada always brought it down to the basic point. You're not the body, a spirit, soul. Understand that first. If you can't understand that, there's nothing else you can do beyond that. If you think you're the body, that's the end of it. Like in the mathematical derivation, if I make a mistake in the first step, then everything that follows will be wrong. No matter how much you try to correct it, it's not going to work, because the first assumption itself is wrong. And anything derived out of that will be wrong. Like years ago, when I was in hostel, we had this philosophy, I think I told this drunkard's philosophy. Long back I told this. I stopped telling it for a while. And they came to the conclusion, let's all drink and go to heaven. Because the first assumption was wrong. Remember that one? Wrong in the first step.
If you're wrong in the first step, then whatever you do is wrong.
Subsequent steps will be wrong. You make one wrong turn, it's very difficult to get back on the right path. You keep going, you'll go further away. You wanted this side, but you've gone on that side now. So like that, you have to come to that point and say, all right, I appreciate you express your views to me. Would like to know what's my thought on this, what's my comment on this? Yeah, go ahead. Then you tell him basic point. To do good, you should know what is good.
I tried explaining, saying that constant chanting, it's like fire, iron.
Yeah, but that comes a bit later. Or you can keep it simple and say it. You try chant and you'll be happy.
Because even in case of, say, non-vegetarian, when I explained this, what she was saying was, non-vegetarian, they're all very good people, so, why you're saying that they should not have non-vegetarian.
If you're good, then why are you killing your animals?
Yeah, so that's the basic point.
Yeah, that's what Prabhupada would say. They have RSPC, Royal Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. You ask them, what do you have for breakfast? Say, hamburger. How you're being... There was a lady who was boasting that she went and complained to the police because a man had tied a dog in the car park, and the leash was too short. That was too short. The poor dog doesn't have freedom. She went and complained to the police, and she was bragging about it. And a man got a fine for $2,000 for doing such a cruel act. Then the interviewer asked her, what did you have for breakfast? And she said, hamburger. And he said, even if he's not a devotee, he could see the hypocrisy there. So this world is living in bluff. World of bluff.
In these instances, what do we do, Professor? So we just leave it just like that?
Yeah, just leave it. What can you do, Okay. You can't go further. If you don't want to listen, then there's no point preaching. You should only go to someone who is receptive. If not receptive, best to leave it.
Even if it is someone very close to you.
Yeah, then you should be usually not the right person to preach. Someone else should do that for you. Ask some other devotee to get in touch with them or get them help somehow. Because they won't take it from you. You're too close. That's why Arjuna had to say, Shishyastem Shadimam. They are too close before. He had to distance himself. No, now you're Guru and I'm a disciple. Now let's start. Because until then, Krishna didn't chastise Arjuna. He was saying, maybe you got a chariot, maybe you got some weapons, maybe you're on the battlefield, maybe you should fight. Maybe not, doesn't matter. What do you decide? What do we want? No problem. They are very liberal and very friendly. But the moment he said, Shishyastem Shadimam Tvam Prapannam, then he started, Pragyavadam Shabhasya Gatasvam Gatasvam Nanu Shochanti Pandita. The rod of chastisement came out. Because now he is saying, I'm a disciple. The right to correct the disciple is not there unless one accepts the Guru. Then Guru has the right to correct and give mercy. Lasana Prabhu, give the mic. He's here, Michael.
Janardhan Prabhu was saying.
Yeah.
I have few people who they chant couple of rounds. They're not increasing the rounds. So the reasons quoted is, we already do so many other prayers. I do Sandhya Vandan, I do Purusha Tattvam, I do other things. Spend 2 hours. All again we are praying to Lord Vishnu only. So what is the purpose again to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? In spite of explaining nicely that in Kali Yuga this is the mantra which is required. And there are others who say that we don't have time, but we chant all the time. Not with the beads, but other time also we keep chanting when we are working, all these things.
Yeah.
But that cannot be counted. But
we have to follow the way it is meant to be. Any medicine you take according to the prescription, you can't take how you want to take it. You have to follow the process. Then you get the desired results. Otherwise you get some benefit. Yeah, it has to be accordingly. No? We can't just make it up the way we want to do that according to convenience. If we do that, then you will never get cured. And you tell them, okay, this mode of worship that you have been following, how much knowledge have you got out of that? What have you gained from that? And anyway, whatever Vishnu Sahasranam is chanting, at the end it says there, Sahasranama Tattulyam Namanamanan. It says very clearly. What's the meaning of that? It's in Vishnu Sahasranam for sure. They are chanting Purushukta. Yeah, whatever. Even Purushukta also is chant. When you chant the Mahamantra, Purushukta is already included in that. Sarvedesha Drishyate. Right? Doesn't Brahma say that in the Kali Santana Upanishad? Iti Shorashakanamnam Kali Kalmushunashanam Nata Paratarupaya Sarvedesha Drishyate. It says in all the Vedas you won't find a better upaya than this. Now we are choosing to follow Lord Brahma. Who are you following? Whose authority are you following? You want to keep a wishy-washy authority with your life? Okay, that's you're risking your life. Ultimately, right? So we have chosen this path. And if you want, you can do that. That's why preaching is the essence, not preaching is the essence. The nectar of the holy name in that passage is very important. We stress on because that part, it emphasizes the importance of the holy name. That's the only means of progress in this age. You try something else, it's not going to work. You'll have satisfaction, I've done something, but then you haven't made progress. The same 2 hours you chant 16 rounds, it's so much more blissful and so much more rapid progress you make. Because you tell them the way you have followed last 10 years or last 15 years, you have followed the way you wanted to. Now follow this path for 6 months. Full 16 rounds, not 2, not 4, not 10. 16 rounds. Chant every day. For 6 months you give it a try and see what happens. Nothing to lose, right? You already spent 10, 15 years doing it your way. Now do it Krishna's way.
It's encouraging. They say after chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, now they are trying to understand whatever mantra they are doing also, they are understanding those things.
Yeah,
also
that's
better.
all okay.
But this is being done for 30, 40 years. I can't change.
No, people are smoking for 30, 40 years, they have to stop. Not that this is same category, I'm just saying habits are there. But when Guru gives order, we should change. No? We should not just keep on stubbornly hanging on. That means I know better. Because the subtle message behind this is I know better. And with that mentality, we can't make progress. Krishna is not going to tolerate that. So they'll continue like that. And sometimes they'll compromise. A little bit onion garlic is okay. Coffee once a day should be fine. You know, and then they keep on making compromise like this. Yeah, so their progress is hampered. Follow Acharya. Prabhupada said minimum 16 rounds every day. Yeah, follow that. Just do that. Don't try to change that and make it something else. It's not required. Prabhupada didn't say, I want you to review the system and give us a recommendation for some changes. Prabhupada didn't say that. Others said, don't make changes. Don't change. You spoil everything, he said. Many times he said, you Westerners, you like to change everything. That's not good. You'll spoil everything. It's better that we don't try. I mean, life is limited. How many years we're wasting like this? Why not follow this process and see how it works out for us and give it a try for 6 months. Try it properly. Read, associate, do service. That's why service is very important. So you only get knowledge, that's what you end up on mental platform. Let them do service for some more time, they'll figure it out. You start doing service now. So another few months they do service, they'll get the hang of it. Then Krishna will, as a Paramatma, he will explain to them. He'll make them understand. So make sure read Nectar of the Holy Name before chanting. Before chanting. So read that first, meditate on that and then chant. Then you understand the Holy Name is a person. We try to build a relationship with Harinam Prabhu. So don't be discouraged. Keep going. Yes, Madhuri.
An insignificant point on this. My mother used to chant Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, because she was brought up in a Ram temple. And she followed everything else, but this is what she chanted for 50, 55, 60 years. And when she came here, they were first time they were introduced to Bhagwat Gita as it is by Vijay Prabhu, because they were there when the class went on. And initially she was hesitant to pick up the beads and chant the Mahamantra. But slowly she started chanting. And then one day she still wouldn't give up the other one. She just kept on chanting this, but wouldn't give up the others. So I asked Guru Maharaj once, my mother doesn't do this. She just continues with that. He said, as long as she's doing her 16 complete rounds on Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it's okay. She finds time to do the other rounds for her Shri Ram Jai Ram Japa. So he said, be very firm. See that her commitment towards her 16 rounds is very firm. And fortunately, it happened that she does 32 of those. Of course, she has all the time in the world now, so she can do those rounds and this one as well.
Very nice, thank you. Alright, it's past 1 now. Thank you very much. Announcements?